Yes guys, welcome back to the channel. So today, this video I'm going to be taking you through a full day of eating that I'm using to get absolutely shredded for a photo shoot in April. So cracking on with meal one, 3 simple ingredients. We've got 85% dark chocolate, Morrison's Best. We've got low fat skyr, and we've got frozen raspberries. So with my first meal of the day, especially when I'm cutting, it is about 10 o'clock, I believe. It's about 10:15 today. So I woke up about 6 o'clock and I'd been fasting from 6 o'clock till now, obviously 10 o'clock. Usually I'd eat it a little bit earlier, but I've had to set up the camera. So nice light meal to start the day off. I don't like to start the day off with too many carbohydrates because I like to leave them for a little bit later on in the day, in the evening, after I've trained and obviously before I train. And I also just feel like carbohydrates just make me feel a little bit brain foggy. So leaving them for later on in the day where, you know, I might want to actually wind down a little bit is going to be ideal. So I'm going to crack on, I'm going to put this meal together and I'm going to show you the final product. And there she is in all her glory. So meal one's going to be about 400 grams of Greek yogurt, 100 grams of frozen raspberries, and 10 grams of dark chocolate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scran this, get back into work, and then I will see you for meal number 2. We are back 2 hours later. It is about, get my watch out, almost just past 12:30 here. So I like to have meals every 2-ish hours, 2 to 3 hours. Obviously, this is going to be my pre-workout meal, so going to be a lot more carbs in this meal than my first meal, which was just yogurt and berries really, and dark chocolate. So this is going to include the oats, and it's going to include a banana, and then obviously protein for the protein. So plan of action, about 80 grams of oats, 10 gram dark chocolate, just 1 banana. I never weigh my banana out, it's just fruit. Like, I don't really weigh my fruit and vegetables out too deeply. I'll just standardise it based on just 1 banana a day really. Got 100 grams of raspberries again, and then the Goods red velvet cake flavour Perform. If you've not tried Perform yet, best protein powder on the market, hands down. Genuinely all the flavours are really good. I just try a different one every month, and this red velvet cake flavour is so good, man. So again, getting the carbs in this meal so that we have carbohydrates in for training. I'm gonna make this, show you the final product, show you the whey paste as well, with the whey, because that is absolutely key in making this meal as good as possible. And then yeah, we'll crack on and go train. So now for the tutorial that you've all been waiting for, guys. I've got my whey paste set up here. So we've got 30 grams of that red velvet whey in here, and then to get the perfect consistency, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add about 45 grams of water to this, and then obviously mix, and then it's just going to be a nice lovely paste. So I'll add that water and then I'll show you what it's like. So I actually think I might have added too much there. I added about 50 by mistake, but if I just mix this around, I usually mix it for a little while. You can already see that's kind of forming into a paste, into like a sludge almost, right? So that is, it's not quite the consistency yet. We want to get the clumps. And there's my oats ready. And then I just like getting the sides there just to make sure there's no powder still on the sides. And I'll show you the final product here. So this is what we're working with here. So you can see, if I get my spoon in there, you can see that consistency. It should fold, okay? If it doesn't fold, then you fucked it up and you need to add a little bit more whey paste. Or if it's too thick, obviously just a little bit more water. So now we put it all together. So I've got 30 gram on my way in this. I'm also going to put 30 gram into the actual oats themselves, so we'll do that. So there we go, around 30, 34, doesn't really matter too much. And then we mix, so I probably should have put a little bit more water in the oats. And so now guys, this is the fun bit. So I've got everything on there. Time to add the actual paste, and I'll show you what it should look like. So I'll just set you up here. And this is the perfect whey paste here. Probably put a slow motion montage on this or something like that. Just get the last wee bit out there. And then the last bit is just going to be adding the dark chocolate. So you guys are going to absolutely slate me for this, but I use a pair of scissors to put my dark chocolate onto my oats and my yogurt in the morning. So I just get a pair of scissors and I chop it up like this. So tell me what you think in the comments about how I make my oats with that dark chocolate. I know a lot of people, they cut up their chicken breast with scissors, so I don't think dark chocolate is too bad, to be fair. But I'm going to scram this now. This is again going to be my pre-workout meal, so I'm going to scram this, probably going to let it sit for 15 minutes, half an hour, then I'm going to get to the gym, and then I'll show you a little bit of my push day. So I'm not going to film the full thing, I want to keep this on the full day of eating, but I'll still give you a wee insight into my push session that I'm using, because push is probably going to be my most important session of the week, because I'm trying to really bring up my chest and my shoulders, my full top line. So I really want to show you guys how I'm nailing that, okay? But I'm going to scram this and then I'll see you in the gym. So it is the next day, the day after I filmed the full day of eating. I was going to do like actual training footage and talk while I was training, but I completely fucked it. I took a massive L and I broke my microphone, so I'll get the camera out and get the torch out. The button's not even on that thing anymore, so don't know how I managed that, but it should be like this, but it's clearly not, so I can't switch it on. So just going to do a sort of commentary. So got my bench press here. Warm-ups felt really good. 60 kilogram for 60 kilogram first set. Then I don't have the full warm-up in there, but I did 100 kilogram. I managed to get 2 reps. Felt really good. And yeah, my top set was 115 kilogram this session, and you don't need to, and I got it for about 2 reps. And sometimes it is what it is when you're training in a deficit. Sometimes you'll get that rep, sometimes you won't. Looking back at the video, I probably had a 3rd rep there if I grinded it out hard enough, but mentally I just wasn't there in this session. My back off set, 105, I got 1 rep up, so I think I got 4 last week and I got 5 this week, so really good stuff there. And again, with training in a deficit, you want to hold your numbers as well as you can, but it's never going to be perfect. Sometimes you're going to see a performance increase, sometimes you're going to see a decrease. As long as you're maintaining a relative baseline performance, then you are holding on to muscle, especially with presses. This Nautilus sort of knockoff shoulder press that I use for my upper pec, I think I matched the top set, and I dropped a rep on the back, and I dropped a little bit of weight on the back off set. So presses are going to be one of those things where as soon as you start losing weight, presses might see a slight decrease in performance, because they rely so heavily on leverages. So that's where push sessions can become a little bit difficult, but again, as long as you are not seeing a huge drop off, you should be sound. So yeah, I don't do very many reps within my training. You'll see me do triples, 4 sets of 4, sets of 5. And the reason for this is the reps that really matter within a set are the last 3 to 5 reps, okay? So that's obviously 0 to 5 reps in reserve. If you're doing a set of 15 or even 20, I don't see much value in it, because other than a pump, which is actually taken away from your training in its own way, you're not really, those first, say, 10 reps in a set of 15, they're just warm up. You're just getting the joints warm, which can be fantastic if you are injured and you need to be a little bit more careful with your load, and obviously just with certain exercises. But if you are healthy, if your joints feel good, then I don't really see too much of value in doing a set of 15 to 20 or even more. That's not to say you can't build muscle with a set of 15. You definitely can. But from a time standpoint, an efficiency standpoint, and just generally in training enjoyment, like I personally enjoy lower rep ranges. I come from a powerlifting background where obviously we're doing like singles, doubles, triples all the time. So I personally enjoy that type of training. And then obviously with the pump as well. So the pump actually takes away from your training. So if you are getting a filthy pump, that's actually it stops your muscle from contracting as hard, which decreases the tension that you can generate within a set and decreases your performance. Like you'll notice if you have like a completely filthy pump and you've got so much lactic acid and just calcium ion buildup in the muscle, and it's just skin splitting, you can barely move the muscle. So it actually has a knock-on effect for your performance in subsequent sets. But yeah, just going through my isolations here. So I did my pec deck, I did, I believe it was the cuffed crucifix raise there, I did next, and then now we're on the behind the back lateral raise, and again, very low rep ranges here, 4 to 7 reps across the board and everything, and it makes it easier to progress in a lot of ways. On things like lateral raises, to make sure that I can progress a 4 to 7 rep range, I'll actually get a small plate and I'll put it in between or on the pin, and then put the pin into the cable stack, and then that'll allow me to take a smaller jump, so it kind of works out that way. And then onto my tricep exercise, or my first tricep exercise, which is these cuffed sort of crossbody extensions. These are absolutely beautiful for hitting the full tricep. When you're training your triceps, you don't want to be moving your arm about too much, because if you're moving your arm about, then your long head, which is the big hangy boy down here, you're not going to be training that as well as you could. So in presses, you're not actually training the long head too well. So that's why I do quite a bit of isolation. And then my last exercise of the session is going to be these dumbbell skull crushers. I used to have such an issue with progressing these, but they've just been clicking with me for the last few months. So I've kept them in, I progressed them, I'm up to 20s, and I think I've got 4 here, which sounds horrible in the elbows, but generally like it feels good as long as your volume is in check. But that's the session, gonna get back to full day of eating. It's back in the gaff post workout, so this is going to be meals 3 and 4, so I have the exact same thing pretty much for both meals, pretty much no variance. So it's currently 8:30, or 6:30, sorry, as I'm cooking this, so it's a little bit late, but I had to go to the shops first to pick up some ingredients. So I'll show you what we've got going on here. So 700 grams of potatoes in there, so I'm going to split that both meal 3 and 4. We've got a chicken breast in there, it's about 200 grams of chicken breast, seasoned with the goat of seasonings. So if you've never heard of this brand called Rub, I highly recommend it. It's really good. The Louisiana Cajun one is probably my favourite one, but they didn't have that in stock, so I just went with the Korean barbecue, but it's still very good. Seasoning that all over the chicken breast with a little bit of olive oil spray. So I just got spray. When you're in a dieting phase, you want to use the spray. You don't want to use the actual olive oil. I use it a little bit, but I measure it out, I weigh it out. So I use this on the potatoes, so about 10 grams per meal, just to get some healthy fats in and make the potatoes a little bit nicer. But I use the spray on this just to help it cook a wee bit better. And then finally we've got our veg. So I've got one whole courgette or zucchini. I've got one whole courgette there, and then I've got one whole bell pepper. So I'm just going to split these up between the two meals, and that is going to be it. Potatoes, cut them up into chips, and I put them in for about 40 minutes. So I'm probably going to go and have something like a shower right now, just to pass the time. And then this is going to go in the other air fryer at about 200 degrees for around about 12 minutes there. So yeah, that is going to be meal 3 and 4. Nice and easy, same meal. If you have the same meals, then it just makes meal prep that much easier. And also, I really enjoy these meals. I love having the chips, chicken breast, especially with that seasoning. If you're having meals that you enjoy, you won't mind having them at least 2 or 3 times in a day. So just keep that in mind and make it easy on yourself when you're in a diet. So guys, here's meal 3 and 4. So obviously going to eat that one now, and then I'm saving this for a little bit later. It's about 7 o'clock at night now, so I kind of want to eat this maybe an hour later, and then I've got one more meal, meal 5 that I'm having. It's more like a snack, but I'll show you that later. So I'm going to get this down me. Again, about 350 potato, half a chicken breast, which is about 100 gram, 120 gram of chicken, and then just an assortment of veggies, probably about 150 gram of veggies there. So again, I don't mind eating this meal twice because it's a meal I really enjoy, but that is going to be meal 3 and 4. Just like that, guys, last meal of the day, meal number 5, I believe. It is around 10 till 9 or quarter to 9. Last meal of the day, really simple, really easy. It's just literally a fruit salad with more whey paste on it. So I like this meal last because it kind of satisfies my sweet tooth. So I do have a little bit of a sweet tooth, at least that's what I think. And this really does satisfy it. I've got 100 gram of raspberries again in there. I've got one full banana, and then I've got about 100 gram of frozen pineapple as well. And then obviously 30 gram of whey paste on top just to get the protein up a wee bit more. So that is going to be my full day of eating. These are the total calories and macros for today's full day of eating. If you've got any questions, just let me know about my diet, just let me know. Obviously this is subject to change. I'll probably do another updated video in another, let's say like 4 weeks time, just to kind of give you the rundown of how my diet has changed and progressed as I go deeper into the diet, because obviously it's not going to stay the same for the full 15-week prep. So this is only week 2, so food's still pretty high. And it's going to be very different by the end of the prep. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff on the video, and goodbye.